Welcome to this week's layout tutorial as I share with you the creation of my digital scrapbook layout. My hope and intention is to provide inspiration you can use to create and preserve your memories for your future generations. I'm Anita with beandesigns.com. This is week 28 of my 52 DigiScrap layouts in 52 weeks using GIMP, which is a free open source Photoshop alternative. This layout is a complementary page to last week's layout. The link for last week's video tutorial is right here on this card above here at the top of the video. This layout uses the text to path action again, this time creating a unique journaling around the circle. While I will introduce how this is accomplished briefly in this layout tutorial, I do have an extensive tutorial here on the channel walking you through the steps of using the text and path tools to get this look. The most recent version of GIMP at the time of this recording is 2.10.20, which is the version I'm using. For tutorials on setting up GIMP for use with digital scrapbook layouts, check out the channel. The kit, I just love this kit that I'm using for this layout and last week's layout. It is fruity fun and I got it from gingerscraps.net. I'll leave a link to that website in the description box as well as information regarding the font that I used. So let's get started. I have here my new image. I created it already, and I have my 3 papers that I'm going to use for accent papers, my background paper, and my 4 photos. I already put in guides at 50% vertical and horizontal. Those will help us with our journaling ellipse setup. So let's first start by scaling our photos. I chose to scale them by inches and I simply decided for this layout, that I would just make each of the photos 3 inches tall. And so let me just work through all 4 of them and get them all to be 3 inches tall. When I'm using the scale tool, I'm changing to inches and confirming that I have the aspect ratio locked, putting in my number, and then clicking on scale to apply. So we're going to just drag each of these and place them around the center of my layout. And we're going to cut these 3 papers into a square. You can do this 2 ways. First, you can draw an ellipse. I do have my setup, my GIMP is set up to where when I bring in a paper, it automatically adds an alpha channel. If you have not done that, then this ellipse won't work exactly as mine does. You would have to add an alpha channel to your paper before deleting the outer edge. So using the rectangle select tool, you can select 2100 by 2100 for a size of your selection. You can select invert. You can do this by right clicking on your image. You can go to select at the top menu, invert. The selection is now this outer edge around that 2100 by 2100. And if we push the delete key on the keyboard, that outer area will disappear. And once again, like I mentioned, if you don't have an alpha channel added to this paper or this layer, it will not be transparent. It will become white. However, I have set my presets. Uh, If you were to do it this way, you have your selection already, and you could simply change layers, apply the delete key, and the next one, the second paper and the third paper would disappear. Alternatively, you can use the crop tool, draw a 2100 by 2100 selection, and click inside your selection. It will disappear. So there's two ways to do that. Let's go back up to the top mat. Remember, this paper was a full size. It was a full size layer. So we would need to go to crop to content so that now the yellow outline of what is actually on the layer is visible. We're going to use the rotate tool, and we're simply going to rotate a tiny bit to the left. Then we'll move to the next paper, the next mat, rotate it. You see we have not cropped that layer. So let's go to layer, crop to content. And then the last one is already cropped because we used the crop tool. We'll just rotate it a little bit. We're going to rotate it this way and click rotate. So we have our photos scaled and put in place. We have our mats cut and rotated. Our next step, we're going to work on the journaling. To start with the journaling, we're going to first create a circle. So I'm going to use the ellipse tool. I'm going to draw my circle from the center out. Then I'm going to go to my tool options task here and make my size of the circle 3000 by 3000. I like this size and that I chose the size of the mats so that my journaling is outside of the mats. So we now have a selection that is a circle. This is the circle that we want to put our text on. But in order to do that, we're going to need to make this selection into a path. So we're going to click on our Paths tab, and along the bottom of the Paths tab is an option to click on this to make our selection turn into a path. A new layer appears here on our Paths tab, showing that we have a selection that is now a path. You can tell that it's active because it's dark. We're going to keep that layer active. We're going to return to the Layer tab, and we're going to create a text layer. This is the text layer. I created it by using the text tool. I used black for the font, ink free at 100 pixels, and I typed out my journaling. I played with this previously, so I know what it's going to look like for her video. We want to create a new layer to put this text on. I'm going to right click on the text layer, and I'm going to say text along path. This tells GIMP to create a selection of our text and place it along our path. You can tell this is done because the path becomes red. Let's return to our path layer, our path tab, and you see that we have a new layer that was created. This is a path now, and I want to make it into a selection. So go to the bottom of this tab, path to selection, click on that. We're going to make sure this layer is active. Go back to the layer tab, go to that newly created layer that was first line of journaling. The easiest way is to go to Edit and Fill with Foreground Color, or right-click on your image, Edit, Fill with Foreground Color. This fills inside all of the selection of the text. So let's select None, go to the path layer, hide that layer, and our journaling has appeared along our path. Let's do the second line. We'll need to go to the Path tab, make the selection the active layer, click on our Text tab, so type in your text, right-click on your Text tab, Text Along Path. You'll need to add a new layer. Now that our text has become a path, let's return the Path tab and make that path into a selection. Return to our Layer tab. Make sure we're on that new layer, Edit, Fill with Foreground Color. Select None, hide the path. You will notice that the new line is right on top of our old line. So let's use the Rotate tool and grab that second line, and we'll just circle it around. In my design, in my journaling, I left a larger, I'm going to leave a larger piece here for some flowers. We're going to put a flower here and then put some elements as here as well. Once you have your journaling complete on your circle and you've got them in place where you want them to be, let's add some elements and decoration. So I brought in all kinds of beautiful accents that were included in the kit. I use these little buttons as the prongs to hold the photos on. I arranged a cluster here in this open space and a cluster up here. And then just I used a splatter and flowers. Once I had these all sized and set up, I did come in and duplicate that background layer and give that multiplied edge on the second duplicated layer. I edged my papers, put shadows on all my elements. I inked the edges on my photos, went ahead and removed my guidelines, and I saved this in the XCF GIMP native format so that I can maintain all of my layers. And I also saved it then as a flattened JPEG at the high resolution of 300 pixels per inch so that I can print it into my yearbook when I'm all finished with the 2020 album pages. And then I reduced it. I saved it as a 600 by 600 pixels image so that I can share it on um, share it with my digital world people. So this is my 28th layout. And if you would like to have the template for creating this and use this layout for your digital scrapbook, check out the website www.minazides.com because I have created templates for you guys for free, just to download them. Uh, my channel here does have other layout videos, the previous 27 layout videos, as well as GIMP tutorials on using GIMP as a digital scrapbook tool to create your layouts. If you find anything helpful, please like the video and subscribe so that you can know when I do release new videos. My hope is that you and your family are blessed and that you're enjoying these videos as much as I am. I'm enjoying the preparation and the sharing, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. Until next week, bye bye.